the Diddy trial is continuing. Opening statements going to take place. Jury selection, I believe, finished up this morning. This morning, we also have Josh Kolsrud. Josh, good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see you this morning. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
You have really been digging deep into this trial. What can you share with us with what's happening today?
So today, the judge finished with jury selection first thing this morning. And we now have opening statements. The prosecution just gave their opening statement about an hour ago. The defense went second, of course. They gave theirs, and the prosecution will be calling their first witness at any moment.
What is of course it has to do with the celebrity, but why do you think there's so many people who care about this case?
Well, it's sensationalized for sure. You have a music icon, a mogul that has been around for 20 years and at the top of his game. Sean Puffy Combs owns multiple corporations worth billions of dollars. And in this case, if he's found guilty, it's not just going to be Sean Puffy Combs that suffers the consequences. It's going to be his family. It's going to be all of the employees that work for him. So there's a lot at stake here.
And I think we've talked about this on the air on AZAM many times, about the case, but some of the allegations go back many years.
Yeah, the allegations go back to 2004. However, the main victim, the main witness, Cassie Ventura, her allegations begin in 2009. Now, she is going to be the main witness for the prosecution. And, people may recognize her name. She was a star in R&B back in the mid-2000s. And, the reason why her testimony is so important is because in 2023, she filed a civil lawsuit against Sean P. Diddy Combs. And she filed it in the Southern District of New York, almost like saying, hey, law enforcement, pay attention to me. And the day after the lawsuit was filed, Sean Puffy Combs settled for an undisclosed amount. But it opened Pandora's box, that lawsuit, because it gave a roadmap to federal prosecutors on how to proceed going forward. And if you read the indictment in this case, it almost mirrors exactly what the civil complaint is. So, she is pretty much single-handedly responsible for the criminal prosecution.
Is this the case of the video near the elevator?
Exactly.
In the hotel room? And that went viral. For all of you in the chat box, maybe you've seen the video, and for all of you watching at home, the video was her running out of the hotel room and then running towards the elevators, and he comes out and grabs her.
Yes. So it occurred at the Intercontinental Hotel in Los Angeles in 2016. And in the video, you can see Sean Puffy Combs throwing a vase at Cassie as she runs towards the elevator. Sean Puffy Combs then comes out, grabs her by the hair, stomps on her, hits her, and drags her back into the hotel room. It's very brutal. Now, the video is the most important piece of evidence in this case, and the defense attempted to preclude it, but the judge is going to allow it. However, the judge is not going to allow the CNN version of the video. He is going to allow the prosecutors to show a cell phone recorded video of the original surveillance footage. Now, what's important about this video is that the defense needs to single it out as a single incident, that this was a domestic violence incident. It was brutal, horrible, and P. Diddy needs to come out and again apologize for it, or at least his defense attorneys do. But the prosecution, on the other hand, they want to show that this video is indicative of what P. Diddy's behavior is always like around women, especially women that are close to him, and that this is typical type of coercion or coercive attitude in order to force others into sexual servitude, which serves the basis for the human sex trafficking charges.
So there was a couple interesting factors here when it came to this case, and you and I were chatting offline about it, was New York is a big city. The idea is that you have to find jurors who don't know anything about the case. Well, they apparently found them quite quickly. There's a lot of people who live in New York City, but they found them. Are you surprised by how fast this is moving? We talked about the fact, and you had shared some insight on why he wants this case to move quickly.
Yeah, you know, Sean Puff Daddy wants this case to move quickly because the longer he waits, the more victims will come forward, potentially. Just like the Harvey Weinstein case where, you had the Hollywood mogul who was accused of very similar charges. And by the time the trial started, you had 20 victims. And, there's this old saying, where there's smoke, there's fire. And Puff Daddy's defense team did not want that. Now, looking at the jury selection, there have been some issues with it. So as Johnny Cochran once said, race underscores everything that has to do with the criminal justice system. And in this case, during jury selection, the prosecution had what's called strikes, meaning that they could deselect some of the jurors that are on there for any reason that doesn't have to do with race, gender, or a protected group. Now, the prosecution had 9 strikes in this case, and the defense pointed out that 7 of the 9 strikes were of black people. So they're accusing the prosecution of some type of racial bias. The prosecution has a team, and this is what the defense attorneys are claiming,
right,
of 6 female attorneys, 6 female white prosecutors who they are claiming are going after Sean Puffy Combs, a black man who is a successful black man, and that these prosecutors just hate men. And you saw this as well when the prosecution gave notice of their intent to have Dr. Dawn Hughes testify on their behalf. And you may remember her name. Dr. Dawn Hughes was a psychologist that testified in the Johnny Depp trial and testified that Amber Heard was a victim of domestic violence.
That was a big case too, that the world was watching for a long time.
Oh yeah.
Josh, thank you so much for coming in. We appreciate it. We'll make sure to bring you back as well as kind of the case continues. Josh and I have been talking about this. He's been digging into this case at 10 hours yesterday.
Sure.
Yeah, your wife was like, go for it. This is Mother's Day.
Yep.
10 hours last Sunday, so we appreciate it. Thank